Ladies and gentlemen, success is not a mystery reserved for the fortunate few. It is a deliberate process, governed by laws as real and unchangeable as the law of gravity. The year is 2025, but the principles of success remain timeless, waiting for those bold enough to seize them. First, I urge you to burn this truth into your mind. No man or woman can succeed without clarity of purpose. Success begins when you know precisely what you want. Vague desires produce vague results. A scattered aim is no aim at all. Fix your mind upon a definite chief aim with such intensity that every thought, every decision, every heartbeat propels you toward it. The world makes way for the individual who knows where he is going. Second, you must develop the iron habit of persistence. In 2025, the world is moving faster, but the nature of success has not changed. Temporary defeat is not failure. Failure only arrives when you surrender to discouragement. You will face obstacles, critics, and moments of exhaustion, yet success belongs to the one who keeps moving forward when others sit down. The road is littered with those who quit too soon. Third, self-discipline remains the master key. Without control over your own mind, your desires, your time, and your energy, success will slip through your fingers. In a world of constant distraction, he who commands himself conquers all. Do not wait for motivation. Command your body to act whether you feel like it or not. Discipline transforms dreams into reality. Fourth, never underestimate the power of association. Who surrounds you in 2025 will shape who you become. Minds absorb the habits, beliefs, and ambitions of those nearby. If you walk with the timid, you will inherit their fear. If you walk with the driven, you will inherit their courage. Choose your circle as carefully as you choose your destination. And finally, the invisible force that propels all achievement, belief. You must see the success in your mind before it exists in your hand. Faith is the foundation of all progress. The man who believes in his ability commands the circumstances of life to obey him. He speaks, acts, and moves as though success is certain, and the world cannot help but bend to his will. Ladies and gentlemen, success is never given. It is earned by those who think with purpose, persist with courage, discipline their actions, surround themselves with strength, and walk with unshakable faith. Clarity of purpose is the starting point of all success. Without a clear purpose, a man is like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly, subject to every current and wind, reaching nowhere with certainty. The person who has not yet determined exactly what he wants is forever at the mercy of circumstances, wandering from opportunity to opportunity, task to task, never anchoring his life to a definitive goal. Success never happens by accident. It is always the result of deliberate aim backed by sustained effort. The clearer the target, the straighter the arrow will fly. The moment an individual fixes his mind upon a singular purpose, life begins to reorganize itself in his favor. Opportunities that were once invisible come into view. Ideas begin to align. The mind sharpens its focus like sunlight through a magnifying glass, and where scattered energy once burned nothing, now it ignites. The human mind is the most powerful force on earth when it is directed with precision. It is capable of producing extraordinary results when it is not divided by conflicting desires or scattered among 1,000 insignificant pursuits. A person who truly understands what he wants begins to walk, speak, think, and act in a manner that naturally attracts the people, resources, and situations necessary to bring that purpose into reality. But the tragedy of most lives is not failure. It is the absence of a worthy, definite aim. Many drift through life taking whatever comes without daring to select something specific to pursue. They are waiting for life to hand them a purpose instead of boldly declaring their own. The man who knows what he wants cannot be stopped. He may be delayed, he may stumble, he may be ridiculed, but he cannot be defeated because every setback is only a signal to adjust his path, not abandon it. The power of a definite purpose gives the mind something to hold onto when the storms of life rage. It creates a steady center that no external force can shake. It provides the individual with something greater than momentary pleasure or fleeting approval to live for. Clarity of purpose sharpens the will, strengthens endurance, and fills ordinary days with extraordinary direction. When a person possesses a burning desire for a specific goal, the mind begins to summon the necessary thoughts, ideas, and even people to fulfill it. This is not magic. This is the natural law of cause and effect at work. The clearer the desire, the more the subconscious mind mobilizes itself to find solutions, to notice opportunities others overlook, to persist when others surrender. When the mind knows what it is aiming for, it begins to filter out distractions, eliminate wasted efforts, and instinctively gravitates toward what moves it forward. Without a definite purpose, even the most talented person squanders his gift. Without direction, ambition evaporates into idle wishes and wasted time. A person must decide not merely what he wishes for, but what he is willing to pursue with relentless energy. A vague desire to be successful, to be happy, to be wealthy, to be respected. These are empty wishes that carry no force. Success begins the moment a person defines his chief aim so precisely that it can be written down, visualized, and pursued with daily action. General goals produce general results. Precise goals produce precise results. To wish for success is not enough. One must select the form that success will take, the price he is willing to pay, and the pathway he is willing to walk to reach it. When a person lacks a clear purpose, he becomes easily discouraged, easily distracted, and easily controlled by the opinions of others. His direction shifts with every failure, with every whisper of doubt from the people around him. But the man of purpose is immune to such influences. He has chosen his direction so decisively that the temporary winds of opposition cannot turn him around. He does not surrender his path to the changing moods of the day. He remains loyal to his purpose even when the rewards are distant, even when the journey is lonely. His purpose gives him a strength that those who merely drift will never understand. The process of discovering one's purpose is not always immediate. It requires reflection, examination, and the courage to ask oneself what truly matters. It is a decision that must be made with the heart as well as the mind. A worthy purpose is not selected for its ease or popularity, but for its power to ignite the soul. Once it is chosen, everything else must fall into its proper place. Habits, relationships, and even the thoughts entertained each day must be aligned with that purpose. When the mind and life are organized around a single, burning aim, there is no force on earth capable of preventing its achievement, except the decision to quit. Many people hesitate to commit to a specific purpose because they fear choosing wrongly. They fear missing other opportunities, or they fear being judged for aiming too high. This hesitation is the silent destroyer of potential. It is better to pursue a definite aim with all one's might, and later adjust the course if necessary, than to wander forever in the fog of indecision. Even a flawed purpose, pursued with vigor, will teach more, develop more strength, and reveal more opportunities than waiting endlessly for the perfect purpose to appear. Action breeds clarity. Commitment sharpens understanding. The man who moves boldly toward his chosen aim will, in time, discover whether to continue, refine, or pivot, but he will always be moving forward. The world yields to the person who knows where he is going. Even opposition begins to respect him. Life does not reward those who merely wish, it rewards those who decide. The power of that decision transforms weak thoughts into powerful convictions. It turns hesitation into momentum. It strengthens resolve in the face of adversity. Clarity of purpose compels the mind to work creatively, to persist passionately, to sacrifice willingly, and to endure patiently. Every great success in the history of mankind began with the decision to pursue a definite aim with absolute certainty. Without clarity of purpose, time slips away unnoticed. Years pass without meaningful progress. The man without purpose drifts from job to job, idea to idea, hope to hope, but he leaves behind no mark. The man of purpose, however, commands his time. He uses each day as a stepping stone toward his goal. His hours are spent with direction. His decisions are made with alignment. His energy is reserved for that which pushes him forward. Purpose transforms work into mission, struggle into growth, and difficulty into stepping stones. The man who succeeds in life is not necessarily the one with the most talent, resources, or connections. He is the one who has chosen with absolute certainty what he desires and has resolved to pursue it without compromise. His clarity shields him from the opinions that sway the masses. His vision pulls him through discouragement and fatigue. The world bends for the man who refuses to bend in his purpose. His steps may falter, but his direction never changes. The man who walks in the power of a definite aim does not need permission to succeed. He has already granted it to himself. Persistence is the master quality that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no success without persistence. In the year 2025, when distractions are many and failures come quickly, those who reach the summit are not the most gifted, but the most determined. Temporary defeat visits us all. It is not a sign to quit. It is a question that asks, how badly do you want it? Most people fold at the first sign of resistance. They turn back at the first closed door. But the man of success understands that every closed door is merely a test of endurance. Persistence is not blind repetition. It is the intelligent application of effort in the face of setbacks. When failure appears, the persistent man adjusts his methods, but he never abandons his goal. The masses will tell him to stop. The whispers of doubt will creep into his own mind. The obstacles will grow tall. The path will grow narrow, but he presses on. He knows that failure is not permanent unless he accepts it. Every obstacle carries with it the seed of an equal or greater advantage, but that seed only reveals itself to the man who stays long enough to find it. The world respects the man who will not quit. It eventually steps aside for him, because his refusal to surrender reshapes circumstances in his favor. Persistence is the silent declaration to life that you are willing to pay the price, that you are prepared to outlast the trials, that you will not trade your purpose for comfort. Temporary defeat is not your enemy, it is your instructor. It teaches, it refines, and it removes the uncommitted from the race. Most people in 2025 expect swift rewards. They are addicted to immediate results. When success does not arrive quickly, they label themselves as failures. But success laughs at such impatience. It belongs to those who persist beyond the visible horizon. The rewards of persistence do not always come when you expect them, but they always come to those who refuse to quit. When a man persists, he builds strength even when he does not see progress. Each step, each attempt, each refusal to quit compounds within his character, forging an unstoppable will. Persistence sharpens resourcefulness. It demands creativity. It forces the mind to find new solutions, new pathways, new allies. The man who persists becomes better because he is constantly in motion, constantly learning, constantly adjusting. The danger is not in failing. The danger is in stopping. Failure is temporary. Quitting is final. The persistent man will taste many defeats, but he will never know failure, for failure only exists for those who walk away. Success is often just beyond the point where most men turn back. It hides behind the second, third, or 10th effort. The persistent man reaches it because he does not calculate how many attempts he is willing to make. He simply resolves that he will continue until he prevails. History remembers the persistent. Life rewards the persistent. Opportunities surrender to the persistent. Ladies and gentlemen, if you desire success in 2025, you must arm yourself with a relentless spirit. You must decide that no defeat is final, no delay is fatal, and no obstacle is greater than your will to overcome it. The man who persists long enough eventually forces success to appear, for no power on earth can deny a man who refuses to give up. Success bows to those who have mastered self-discipline. In 2025, when temptations are louder and distractions are more abundant than ever before, the man who commands himself will command his destiny. The path to success does not merely require action. It demands controlled, consistent, and deliberate action. Self-discipline is the foundation upon which all sustained achievement is built. Without self-discipline, ambition dies in the arms of comfort. Without self-discipline, potential is wasted on fleeting pleasures. The man who cannot control his thoughts, his habits, his tongue, his time, or his emotions will find that life quickly escapes his grip. He becomes a slave to every impulse, every distraction, every unguarded moment. But the man who exercises mastery over himself becomes the ruler of his circumstances. He does not wait for favorable winds. He steers his own ship. Self-discipline is the ability to do what must be done whether or not you feel like doing it. The man of discipline does not consult his emotions to decide if he will act. He rises when comfort whispers for him to stay. He works when the world suggests that he rest. He advances when his body begs him to retreat. Discipline sharpens the will until it cuts through procrastination, fear, and fatigue. The disciplined man knows that every choice either serves his purpose or steals from it. He does not entertain habits that waste his strength. He does not tolerate associations that drain his energy. He does not permit distractions to rob him of his time. He is not perfect, but he is committed to mastery. His life is not ruled by his appetites. It is governed by his vision. Many desire success, but few are willing to endure the routine, the repetition, the grind that success requires. Self-discipline is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching. It is formed in the decision to rise at the appointed hour, to complete the task fully, to speak with intention, to spend with wisdom, to train the mind and body with daily effort. The man of discipline understands that small, repeated actions produce mighty results. In 2025, the temptations to quit, to escape, to be passive are stronger than ever, but the disciplined man resists. He has declared war on his lesser self. He does not allow the passing mood of the day to dictate his direction. He disciplines his mind to dwell only upon that which strengthens him. He disciplines his speech to align with his purpose. He disciplines his finances, his health, his relationships, all brought under control by the supreme power of self-governance. Self-discipline does not eliminate struggle. It prepares you to endure it. It does not guarantee ease. It guarantees power over yourself. When a man commands himself, he no longer fears circumstances. He no longer fears obstacles. He has already conquered the greatest enemy, the undisciplined self. Ladies and gentlemen, success will not submit to those who are slaves to their whims. Success will not wait for those who wait to feel ready. Success rushes to the man who acts with discipline, who chooses principle over pleasure, duty over distraction, and purpose over passivity. The disciplined man shapes his life with his own hands and does not surrender his future to the pull of comfort or the voice of delay. No man succeeds alone. Success is not merely the fruit of individual effort. It is also the product of the minds with which you associate. In 2025, the voices you allow around you will either elevate your vision or erode your spirit. The company you keep will shape the beliefs you carry, the ambitions you chase, and the standards you accept. You may possess talent, discipline, and persistence, but if you surround yourself with those who doubt, those who complain, those who live comfortably in mediocrity, you will find yourself quietly lowering your aim to match theirs. Minds absorb the attitudes of those they are most frequently exposed to. This is not chance. It is the law of influence. You become like those you associate with. The man who desires success must choose his environment as carefully as he chooses his destination. He must walk with those who think boldly, who speak with conviction, who act with courage. He must study the habits of those who have achieved what he seeks and remove himself from the circles that poison his thinking. Friendship is valuable, but it must not come at the cost of ambition. Many people in 2025 will try to hold you where they are. They will fear your growth because your growth demands that they examine their own stagnation. They will discourage you, not always with malice, but with limitation in their hearts. The man who listens to such voices soon becomes trapped in the small cages built by others. You must be willing to walk alone rather than walk with those who shrink your vision. Association is power. The right minds will sharpen you, challenge you, push you beyond what you thought possible. They will not allow you to settle for less. They will speak the language of possibility, not limitation. They will not pity you when you struggle. They will remind you of your strength. The man who walks with giants grows to match their stature. But you must also guard your mind from the unseen associations. The books you read, the conversations you entertain, the ideas you consume. You cannot feast upon weakness and expect to grow strong. You cannot fill your mind with fear and expect to act with courage. You must carefully and deliberately select what enters your thoughts, for what enters repeatedly will take root. The man of success builds a circle of influence that fortifies his purpose. He does not tolerate the presence of envy, gossip, laziness, or cynicism within his inner circle. He chooses his associations with precision because he understands that no matter his will, he will rise or fall with the standards of his closest company. Ladies and gentlemen, the road to success is steep and narrow. Those you walk with will either lift you or lead you astray. Select them wisely. Walk with the courageous, the disciplined, the purposeful. Guard your associations as you would guard your most valuable treasure, for they will determine not only where you go, but who you become. No man ever achieves success until he believes in it with absolute certainty. Belief is the unseen force that shapes every result. In 2025, where doubt and hesitation are disguised as realism, belief remains the most powerful weapon in the hands of the determined. You must first see your success in your own mind before the world will ever see it in your hands. The man who believes moves with a different energy. His words carry weight, his actions carry conviction, his presence commands attention. Belief transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary power because it silences the inner voices that whisper, "You cannot." Those who lack belief surrender before they begin. They ask life for small things because they secretly doubt their worthiness to receive more. They walk cautiously, they speak hesitantly, and they abandon their goals at the first sign of resistance. But the man of belief walks as if success is inevitable. He speaks as though the result is already his. He acts with the faith that his persistence will bend circumstances to his will. Belief is not wishful thinking. It is not blind hope. It is a deep, unshakable certainty that success must come because the man has decided he will not quit until it does. Belief compels him to continue where others give up. It forces him to rise when comfort demands that he stay down. Belief sharpens his focus, strengthens his will, and demands that life yield to his efforts. A man may possess skill, resources, and opportunity, yet fail because he does not truly believe he can succeed. Another man, with limited means but with unbreakable belief, will outlast him, outwork him, and eventually overtake him. Life submits to the man who believes so deeply that he leaves no room for doubt to settle in his mind. You cannot wait for proof to believe. You must believe first. Success rarely announces itself in advance. It appears to those who act as if it already belongs to them. The man who demands evidence before belief will stand still while the man of faith moves mountains. Belief speaks through daily action. The man who truly believes in his success does not waver in his routine. He does not drift from his standards. He does not need to be reminded to work, to persist, to endure. His belief drives him. His faith is not an accessory. It is the engine of his life. The greatest victories of 2025 will not belong to those who merely hope to succeed. They will belong to those who believe with such intensity that failure cannot survive in their presence. The man who believes has already won long before the world sees it. Life has no choice but to deliver what he has claimed with his mind, his words, and his relentless pursuit.